Charlie Degeda is in London for us live this morning. And Russian President Vladimir Putin, we just heard him in that address a little bit with the crash earlier today. Some really stern words there, Charlie.
Yep, he didn't mince his words, and he came out swinging as we would have expected. You mentioned there in the headline, we feel stabbed in the back because of our fight against terrorism. Turkey is meant to be on our side rather than the other way around. He mentioned that the plane was carrying out a mission against ISIS. That's arguable in itself. It didn't constitute any threat to Turkey because it was flying at least a kilometer away from the Turkish border. Lastly, he said that they're going to analyze what happened, but the incident that occurred today will have serious consequences for Russian relations with Turkey. Jamie, Chris?
Do we think that's something that he is just saying? I mean, he's known to be very stern in these situations, as you said, not mincing words. Is this really something that we need to worry about in terms of relations?
I guess we have to define what serious consequences mean. But what we're seeing here, and this is for the first time since the 1950s, is a NATO member shooting down a Russian or Soviet aircraft. And that's one of the reasons that there is an emergency meeting that was called by NATO. In fact, he sniped at that as well. He said rather than the Turkish coming to us and discussing what happened, they go to the NATO partners as if it was a Turkish jet that was shot down by the Russians. But it just underlines the tensions that have been going on there, because although both of these countries are involved in the fight in Syria, they're backing different sides. The Russians for Assad, the Turks for Turkmen within inside Syria. So it can't help but appear to be a confrontation.
And Charlie, it really is a delicate balancing act right now between Turkey, the U.S., NATO, and Russia, which already is a bit of a strained relationship given the sanctions in Ukraine. What is the U.S. saying about what happened there, and any sense on how the concerns, how that may play out in this broader fight against ISIS?
Yes, well, U.S. officials have already told CBS News this morning that the Russian aircraft did indeed violate Turkish airspace. They were looking at radar tracking that showed that did happen. It was very brief, but it did happen, and it wasn't for long. It wasn't far into Turkish territory. In addition, they are sending a drone to help in the search and rescue of the wreckage of the aircraft, and then also for the two-man crew that was on it. So I think what we're going to see here over the course of this afternoon here when we have this NATO meeting is sort of coming together as a delicate situation that they have in Syria, to say the least. And it also underlines the serious nature of the crowded skies. So now you've got U.S. airplanes over Syria. As we know now, you have French airplanes, coalition aircraft, Turkish aircraft, Russian aircraft. You have, Syrian and Russian Syrian and Iraqi forces in the battle zone itself. So it is a very crowded area. And while we can't identify this as an accident, with all that armament and aircraft flying around, it's a surprise that something like this hasn't happened sooner.
Yeah, it's a delicate situation. Charlie Degeda in London for us. Thank you.